Punch in the Face Radio here with Anthony Gutierrez, a.k.a. Sharkbait. Now, Anthony, man, you're going to be back in action here at Titan FC here September 26th. Wael Watson, man, what's the early scouting report on Wael?
Wale's got a lot of experience. He's been in the UFC for a while, so he's been on the big stage. Just little stuff like that can kind of help with pressure and things like that. I think he's a brown belt in tip plan and jiu-jitsu, so his jiu-jitsu is good. He's tall and long, so he's an athlete. He's a pretty good fighter. I just think that I match up really well with him. I think my jiu-jitsu and wrestling's a lot better. Like my MMA grappling, I think is way, way better than his game. I'm sure if we went straight jiu-jitsu match, it might be, more competitive. But as far as MMA grappling goes, I think it's pretty easy for me. His striking's pretty wild, so I just need to keep the pressure on him, and really that's about it.
I had an opportunity to interview him here, a couple of days ago, and I'd asked him, about the matchup with facing you. One thing that he had said, he thought his, as you'd even mentioned, his jiu-jitsu would maybe be the edge there, but he's looking to actually show some skills he had been working on. Is that any kind of fear, kind of going in the back of your head about him kind of being labeled somewhat of a BBJ ace, if I can say it correctly? Is there any kind of worry about that going into a match?
He said, what did he say about my jiu-jitsu? Sorry, I couldn't understand you.
No, he was saying that he kind of thought he had the edge there in regards to the jiu-jitsu. He also felt that, he's been working on some other things he wanted to sell. He was showing this coming fight against you that he's a little bit more well-rounded, because that's what everybody knows him as, is, for doing his jiu-jitsu. Is that something that you're, maybe mindful of in your game plan without giving too much of it out, that is maybe his biggest strength is that jiu-jitsu, and try to prevent him from being able to use that?
Yeah, I would expect him to believe in his skill set and believe that it's better. And especially in this game, in order to stay relevant, you got to work on all aspects of your game and improve everywhere. So, I would imagine if I were him, I would be working. I'd be working a lot on my wrestling, because his wrestling's pretty awful. And I'm sure he's working on his striking a lot too. So, I'm expecting to be training, super hard. I know he's a game opponent. I know this is what he's doing for his career. So. I'm expecting him to try to get better everywhere. That's exactly what I'm doing. Unfortunately, I'm just doing it at a faster rate, more efficient rate than his. So.
Now, would you consider this being somewhat of a stepping stone fight for you to bigger things ahead, or is it just you're treating it like any other fight?
Sorry, you cut out.
I said, are you treating this as a stepping stone fight in any way, or is this, just treating it as if like it's a regular any other fight that you go into?
Really the biggest thing as far as stepping stones go are me just improving in the gym every day. And then, of course, when I'm competing, racking up wins. This is a good win for me and for my resume, fighting a guy with a lot of professional experience and a guy who's been in the big show before. It's a good fight for me. I want to fight the toughest guys outside of the UFC. And so, I look at this as just another fight, another win. And as far as today goes at this moment, today is just another day to, continue to improve.
Now, this is actually going to be the first time you're fighting for Titan FC outside of Kansas City. Now, is that a little bit weird? Because you've had all your fights underneath the Titan FC umbrella. You've grown with the company through now 2 owners. Is it kind of different that you're actually going to have to go on the road for a fight for once for Titan FC, and not literally wake up in your own bed and then go to the fight?
I've had plenty of fight experience. I fought in Vegas twice. I fought all over the country. So fighting, I had 20 amateur fights, and then so I've had a lot of experience now fighting at home, so it won't be any different.
Now, here at the end of 2011, you were kind of labeled as being, one of the next big things, one of the big bright prospects here in MMA. Did you ever kind of feel any pressure when that was put on you now as time has went on, and that you're not signed with the UFC, you're still undefeated, but you haven't gotten to that stage or maybe that expectation that people had for you at that time, or is it still a work in progress that you're still building up for?
Really there's no pressure to that. It's pretty good exposure and stuff. But my main thing is the pressure I just put on myself of improving every day. we work hard at our gym at Glory MMA and Fitness, and we have a lot of high-level fighters at our gym. And so I'm just trying to keep up with Tim Elliott, James Krause, that coming, all these high-level pros. I'm just keeping up with them and improving, and that's all I'm doing.
With you working with those guys, those guys you did name, all three of those guys in the UFC, is it helping you out that now they've graduated to that level to fighting at the other level? Are you seeing any kind of difference in them and the gym and how they prepare for their bouts?
They've been preparing pretty much the same. We've all been together for a while. It was just a matter of time. It just kind of shows that the work that we've been putting in is the right work because it's paying off. So we just need to continue to keep doing the same things that we're doing, and things are inevitable to work out.
What's the best piece of advice you've gotten from those veterans, since they've fought and had a little bit more experience than you? What's the best piece of advice they've given you during your time in training with them?
Not putting people on pedestals. That's one of the things I learned from Tim Elliott. It's so easy to read someone's, maybe it's their website or the social media page, or read all these interviews and reports. And I don't know why. Maybe it's human nature to put people on pedestals, but in reality, you can't do that. I don't care who it is. I'm training, as hard as anybody else is in the world, and so really it's just about believing in yourself, believing in, things that you're doing on a daily basis, and really just having faith in yourself, and that's pretty much the biggest thing.
Interesting. Not putting people on pedestals. Do you kind of feel that sometimes that, especially now with social media being as strong as it is, that a lot of these guys build up an image and a persona about themselves that they never really, live into, whether it be in or outside of the cage?
Not everybody, but a lot of times, there's a lot of guys that have had lots of financial success and fame, and really didn't even amount to much skill-wise. They just were marketing themselves right and things like that. So you can't always judge a book by its cover. At the same time, it's a double-ended sword. You can't put a guy on a pedestal and worship him, but at the same time, you can't overlook a guy and think that he's not doing the right thing. So.
Now, one thing I want to touch on with Glory MMA, formerly known as the Grindhouse. I'm a local guy myself, so I've seen you guys evolve and grow throughout the years. Really, the last 5 years or so, you've really just kind of seen how Grindhouse has now evolved to Glory MMA and now expanding. Being here in Kansas City, and you're from Lee Summit and what have you. How have you seen the MMA, growth and expand here in this area to where now this area is kind of somewhat of a hotbed from MMA, with you having shows, Titan FC, Invicta. How have you seen how MMA has grown in your area?
Yeah, MMA's always been pretty popular in Kansas City ever since I got in the game. I'd say the last 7 years it keeps continuing to grow. There's tons of talent here. We had Jason High, Rob Kimmons, LC Davis, Bobby Volker, James Krause, Tim Elliott, Zach Cummings. There's a lot of good guys here. And so, Kansas City is definitely one of the hotter spots throughout the country as far as MMA talent, that's for sure.
And with you guys, fighting on these national televised programs, guys in the UFC, for Titan, Bellator, do you think that's something that's going to continue to grow, and this has become a more of a hotbed for talent to be found here in this area?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, right on. Well, Anthony, man, give a shout out to the sponsors helping you get ready here for the fight here on Titan FC 30.
Yeah, I'd just like to give a shout out to Onnit.com, ONNIT, and Glory MMA and Fitness.
And let the fans know where they can keep tabs up with you on social media.
Yeah, on Twitter, I'm Sharkbait816, Instagram, Sharkbait816, and then Facebook /Sharkbait816.
Wow, that's easy to remember. Well, Anthony Gutierrez, we appreciate you taking our time again here. September 26th, Wael Watson. You two are going to get it on at Titan FC 30 on CBS Sports Network. Best of luck with your continuing training here for the fight, man, and we'll see you here on CBS Sports Network.
Okay, thank you. Have a good day.
All right, you too.